Fire insurance companies. The Great Fire of London started just after midnight on Sunday the 2nd of September 1666 in a bakery on Pudding Lane. The fire turned into a conflagration that lasted many days and destroyed properties across 400 or so streets. Such was the devastation, it was realised that some form of organised firefighting was required if such a conflagration was to be avoided again in the future. New laws were soon passed requiring parishes to provide firefighting equipment such as buckets, squirts, ladders and poles with hooks on the end. Provision varied from one area to the next. Private houses were also required to have a bucket of water available at all times. Around 1680, entrepreneur Dr. Nicholas Barbon saw an opportunity and created the Fire Office, a sort of insurance company that, for an annual fee, would repair or rebuild a property if it was damaged by fire. He later changed the name to the Phoenix Fire Insurance Company as other rivals became established. It soon became obvious to these insurance companies that they could reduce the payments made to their clients if they could extinguish a fire in its early stages. And so they formed groups of men that would run to a reported fire and attempt to minimise the damage caused. They were dressed in a uniform to show which fire insurance company they were from, and soon became known as firemen. The insurance companies issued metal plaques, also known as fire marks, to their clients to show which company insured the building. The various firemen from the different insurance companies would arrive at a fire, but only those whose plaque was attached to the building would actually deal with the fire. The firemen from the other insurance companies would not intervene, but would stand by in case one of their insured buildings became involved. In the early days of fire insurance companies, firemen only had the basic firefighting tools: buckets, squirts, much like a bicycle pump in principle, ladders and poles with hooks on. Manually operated pumps began to appear from the 1730s. Around the 1850s, steam pumps were developed, doing away with the need for many men to manually pump water. These steam pumps were very heavy and required horses to pull them to fires. As motor vehicles became a thing from the early 1900s, motorised fire pumps were also created, which gradually replaced the horse-drawn steam pumps. Fire insurance companies had largely disappeared by now, with most towns and villages having their own brigades. They inherited the equipment used by the fire insurance companies, and so provision was as varied as it ever was, depending on the funding available in each local area. The very last insurance company fire brigade attendance was by the Norwich Union's Worcester Brigade on the 25th of February 1929 to a fire in 2 cottages. The fire insurance companies only operated in London and some of the larger towns and villages outside of London. The Phoenix and Royal Exchange companies operated in South Essex, whilst the Norwich Union Insurance Company operated across North Essex. The Sun Fire Insurance Company had a presence in Colchester. There were 3 fire insurance companies that operated purely within Essex: Essex and Suffolk Equitable Society, Essex Economic Fire Office and the Finchingfield Society. They operated in Manningtree, Colchester, Thorpe-le-Soken, Wivenhoe, Coggeshall, Chelmsford, Malden, Billericay and Rayleigh. You may still be able to see one of the plaques or fire marks, as they were also known, of the companies mentioned above on an old building in your area. To the left is an early example of the Essex and Suffolk Equitable Society plaque before this Suffolk element was added, and below is the Essex Economic Fire Office plaque. There are more examples on the front cover of this document.